Alright, what's up, y'all? Today's the 16th of May, 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. This is In The Image Clothing Company Podcast, episode 121, titled 10 Minutes to Make Your Bed. Okay? So, you like how I read the guitar during the episode sometimes, rather than right before? Sometimes, we do things here under In The Image Clothing Company that just show how real we are, right? How authentic this all is. So, I'll play a little bit of read the guitar here, something, and then we'll get into this discussion, okay, as we do. So, yeah. I just want to say how humbled I am, man, first. I mean, everything that's happening right now and just where In The Image Clothing Company is, it's unreal. So, I'll play a little bit of This Road. Trying to find my way on this road, feeling like I run out of time. I'm trying to find my way on this road, but slowing down never crossed my mind. Trying to find my way on this road, feeling like I'm completely lost. Trying to find my way on this road, but I don't ever take the time to stop. First place will come and go, but I feel like I need it still. First place will come and go, but I'll give myself one more thrill. Okay, that's sweet. I played that on the 5th fret. I think I wrote it on the 3rd. But that's This Road by me, Evan Strong. So there you go. I'm gonna throw a little read the guitar here, right here against the wall. So there's a little bit of visual interest for those of you watching plus listening to In The Image Clothing Company podcast, because it's available in that form plus just audio only as well. So here we go. Okay, let's get into this. I will do as I do, talk about each of our 4 sides to our company as a whole. I'll talk about where clothing has to sit, and then we'll just get right into the discussion, okay? And also I love that my head's cut off a little bit. Why not, right? All right. This is In The Image Clothing Company podcast, as I said, where we have deep dive discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. We're all human beings placed on the same earth, and we have one God governing all of us, and so we just discuss things as they are here, and we get into it, okay? I'm sinful by nature, as is everybody, and so I don't say anything perfect, and I don't do anything perfect, but there's a lot that I understand, and I have a lot of experience in life in a lot of different ways. So that's what we do here, okay? 120 episodes before this one, so it's been really great. Another 4th of our company is what I call the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, and it's really what we are, where we started, and still our main side. Keyword allowing the human body to work is what we do. We come at it through clothing. The human body really is about its skeletal frame. It's not about the fat content that changes. It's not about the muscle mass that changes. It's about the skeletal system in a neutral position in every joint. And as long as the body can reside in that, it'll just work. Because, as I say, it's just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. Earth's gravity pulls us down from its center line, the human being's center line. The sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw, naturally stabilizing the entire body, are all in the center of our body. And when we place clothing onto us, it can very much alter our body's only workings, because there is only one way the human body could ever work. For everybody, it's the exact same thing. So, yeah, truly, clothing needs to sit in a certain location, where I will discuss in just a minute here. But in the Image Clothing Company clothing will always stay centered, fit correct, be made from 100% natural materials, and that's how we allow the human body to work, okay? But we do talk about eating, sleeping, standing, sitting, hydration, all the things that we do physically as human beings, and how to do them naturally, okay? So, another fourth of us is a lot of what you just heard at the beginning here in the Image Clothing Company music. And I said third, it's another fourth of our company, okay? Yeah, it is. Our newest fourth is something that humbles me so much, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But I show how to size and set up guitars, because as you heard there, I play guitar, and we can't alter the hands. The hands are essentially our shoulders, as our feet are essentially our hips. The human body just has to work all together. Anywhere any of it goes, all of it comes with. It would always just be activated as a whole, because it's all one. So there you go, okay? Also, just music that I make is placed on In The Image Clothing Company music. And I do make some good music, man. I really do. I've made music for a lot of my life. Yeah, well over 10 years. I've been pretty heavily into music in the ways that I have, so. We have another fourth of us in the Image Clothing Company Poodles. And that is the one that I said I'm so convicted about, and excited for, and humbled by. We specialize in standard purebred poodles. We have to come, as of today's date, our purebred standard poodle AKC registered proper breeding program, okay? Under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, but we do a lot of advocating for dogs, proper dog ownership, being a good owner of dogs, taking accountability as the owner of dogs, proper breeding, and purebred dogs. We do a lot of things like this. We let dogs stay natural. That's our slogan for that fourth of the company. Because in modern day, there's a lot of unnatural things. In dog toys, materials are unnatural, potentially, that dogs are eating. In dog products, like collars, leashes, harnesses, and things placed onto dogs, potentially unnatural materials nowadays, and actually almost more common than not is the case in modern day. But then also just balanced, right? Fit-wise and size-wise. So, In The Image Clothing Company will have dog products available to do the same thing as our intent behind human being clothing. Staying centered and fitting the dogs well to not alter them, being minimal and light. So, yeah, we do a lot of stuff though, man, under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. Yeah, okay, poodle parade events where we get together with purebred poodles of any size and or poodle mixes of any size as the only breeds allowed at In The Image Clothing Company's poodle parade events. And, you know, walks and hikes and just hanging out, talking about things, keeping dogs. And there you go, dude. My heart's in it, like, big time. So, okay. Clothing for everybody has to sit in the same location. Pants need to be entirely above the hips, so there's no restriction to the functionality of the pelvis. Slightly higher in the front than the rear for the waistband angle, so that our core muscles can stay the only way they ever would be, unless altered, which is activated. The tops that we wear have seams on top of them that need to sit evenly behind the tops of our shoulders, because our shoulders only ever work behind our head, and the edges of our shoulder seams should be right at the very edges of the functionality of our shoulder joint. Yes. I feel like I worded that kind of weird, but I said it right. Two things we have as prerequisites under In The Image Clothing Company to not alter the body. Ropes and shoes aren't always there. We call them shoelaces. There's only one way to weave a rope across the top of the mechanics of the human foot and not alter it. That's what we call In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique. Found wherever you find us, our 5-word name as a whole, In The Image Clothing Company. Yes, InTheImageClothingCompany.com is where all 4 sides of the company do come to. We tie shoes as well, and they have to be tied evenly over toward the center line of the human being on both feet, okay? because the feet oppose the center line, gripping arches inward that keep our bodies vertical on Earth's gravity, okay? And then secondly, our other prerequisite is to remove all tags. Anywhere a tag is placed in clothing is just either not allowing the body to be in its only working position and or not allowing musculature to activate. And then you've got the body trying to compensate and it cannot, okay? So, there you go. The body's all one. There's no compensation that can happen within it, okay? Stretch within clothing goes the opposite direction of only... Gosh, when I say that, man... You can never stretch the human being. You can never train the human being. Muscles only contract. A video that I made under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company, and it is the case and the only truth of the human being. Stretching muscles seems appealing, but it can never help you because you're opposing the only way your muscles have operation, which is shortening. So, yes, no stretch in clothing ever. It didn't even exist until just decades back from today's date. All right. Episode 121 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, 10 minutes to make your bed. This is the whole thing about the title and what we'll get into. If you take a camping trip and you go out there and you're just going to sleep somewhere that's not your normal bed situation, you're out under the stars somewhere, you're in a tent, you're in a trailer, you're under a lean-to, in a teepee, or some type of hut, okay? Wherever you are, in a cave, it doesn't matter, but anywhere, even in your own bed at home, okay? If you take 10 minutes to make your bed and get it proper, everything that you're going to be laying on nice and flat to the degree that you can, and get it set up well, then that 10 minutes that you took will give you a good opportunity to have an entirely full night of restful sleep, okay? So 10 minutes for maybe 6 to 8, give or take, hours of sleep. And if you don't take those 10 minutes to get your bed set up, then you can be tossing and turning and waking up often and sweating and not sleeping well, and your body can be out of its only working position. We talk about sleeping as one of the things under In the Image Clothing Company that we do physically as a human being, okay? Everybody does it. And there's only one way your body can do it, the most natural for it, because there's only one neutral position to every joint in the human being. And laying horizontal is quite a unique thing for the body to do when it's designed to work vertically. So we can apply this to anything and everything in our lives. And, you know, a big thing is lacing shoes. We're going to get into a lot in this episode because if you take 10 minutes, and it won't take you 10 full minutes, at least, you know, it doesn't have to. If it does, okay, but it can take only about 3-4 minutes to relace both shoes that you have. But if you take a little bit of time like that to relace any shoes that you ever put onto your feet, then the entire time that you wear those shoes, if you lace them the only way the human foot is shaped, what we call In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, something that we do not own because it's just a rope. There's no way you can own a technique like that. Then the rest of the time wearing those shoes, your feet are just able to work. And there's only one way the human foot ever could. It's got a lot of stuff going on inside of it. And God designed it, and we can't decide to place something on it that doesn't let it do its only thing. But a lot of people don't want to take that time and take 10 whole minutes, if it took you even that long, to relace my shoes, somebody might be saying. Well, yeah, and then you wear those shoes for the next year and a half, right? And or 10 years off and on, or whatever it is, right? Yeah, take the few minutes and do it, and the rest of your life will be changed. Like that 10 minutes of making your bed, and then your entire night is better, so then your whole next day is better as well. There's a lot of things like this in life that we have to just take a little bit of time to do. And then from doing it, the rest of our everything from that point forth is just better, easier, more proper. And in some cases, just the only way. Like these things I'm discussing here, you know? So I hear creaking on the floor above me. My mother's in this house as well. But one of the big things is like a work uniform, right? If you go get a new job and they give you a work uniform, something you have to wear because it lets people know that you work for the establishment that you're at, okay? Take about 10 minutes to alter the clothing in the ways that you need to. Removing the tags, doing things like in the Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification, if it has a collar in the seam of the shirt or the top that you wear, doing whatever you need to allow that clothing to stay centered. And then the rest of the time that you work at that place, your body can just work. Otherwise, it just won't be able to. And there's a lot of things like this in life that are just really small things that we have to do before we can do anything else, or else those things that we try to do after just can't even happen at all without us just pushing through it and not actually doing it, but like trying to, right? I mean, you don't actually make your bed something that's comfortable for your body to lay on, and you don't actually sleep that night. You push through it and you try to, but you're waking up and you're doing the things I was saying earlier, right? Tossing, turning, sweating. You can't breathe. You wake up more sore than you were the night before because you intended on resting and then you got damaged. I mean, it's as real as it gets, So, one of the phrases we say so often here under In the Image Clothing Company. And there's a lot of these things, man, in life where you just take a few minutes to do something, and, a few minutes can be almost a metaphoric term. It can be a year, it can be 3 years, and then the rest of your life is different, But, yeah, a big thing is, like, if you get baptized, man, the rest of your life will be different. And I got baptized twice. And the second time around, it was just the same as the first, impact-wise. So there's so many things in life, man. It's, you do something now so that you don't have to suffer with it along the way down the road. And there's certain things that you just can't do later. They have to be done prior to whatever you're doing. I mean, you can't fix your bed halfway through the night and then get a full night's sleep. You only then get half of your night's rest. It has to be done first. You don't purchase shoes that are laced incorrect and tied incorrect and wear them for half of their life and then try to lace and tie them correct because now they've been worn into incorrect patterning that will stay within the material of the shoes even if the laces are now laced correct and tied correct. And, the first time you learn what we show, just the truth, under In the Image Clothing Company of the only way the human foot is shaped and how to weave a rope across it the only way you ever could without altering it. You learn how to do that through part of the time owning a pair of shoes, and okay, right? But when you get new shoes, do it immediately. Lace them and tie them. Correct. The only way the human foot is ever going to work. And then you wear in your shoes to the only way your human foot is shaped, okay? And I'm speaking this out of experience. I'm wearing shoes right now that I got today. New. For reasons, and yeah. Before I wore them at all, even trying them on at the store, I laced them and tied them proper. So, if you can hear the articulation of my voice, that's even a little bit better right now. Oh shoot. Yes, a lot of that is these shoes. They actually fit nice and snug on my feet, but a lot of it is what I did today, actually. I made a video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company titled Eating and Drinking with the Left Hand. And my bite for my teeth and my jaw is just so much more centered than it ever has been. So I can actually use it the way that it's designed to, just vertically, right, up and down, in line. The only way it could ever track without just damaging it and the rest of your body, because it naturally stabilizes your whole body. So, yeah, 10 minutes to make your bed, right? It's a lot of things like this, man, because a lot of times we spend quite a bit of time in our life doing something specific, and we have to start it out properly. Otherwise, from there on, it's just not going to be proper. And there's a proper way to do things, man. As much as I say so often how I'm unorthodox and untraditional, right? I am so very different than a lot of things traditionally are. But there still is just a proper way for certain things that couldn't work any other way. We talk about a lot of those under the Image Clothing Company. And so, yeah, I mean, that might be all that this episode is. It's a very short episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast compared to a lot of the other ones up until this point. But it's not about the duration, you know? I mean, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm just here documenting things as and where I need to that will last forever. So, this is one of those things. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm going to say. Yeah. It's very humbling, man. Just a lot, like I said, you know, at the very start of this. So, yeah, thank you. My name is Evan Strong. I'm the founder of In the Image Clothing Company and all four sides. Check us out, man. I mean, for you, we have In the Image Clothing Company just because we help people. That's really what we do here. And it will help you regardless of who you are, no matter what. Yeah. I'm actually going to show these shoes. For those of you in visual, it'll just be documented. And I've shown In the Image Clothing Company's shoelacing technique just where I have. You know, sometimes I just throw it in videos like this or even a documented episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. I've done it before, but it's one of those things that I don't show so often because when I film videos, it's most common for it to be just the upper part of my body. And, yeah, well, you know what? I'm not even going to show the shoes that I'm wearing. I could, but I'll show these ones here. These are actually my Zero Denver Canvas shoes by Xero Shoes, Xero. And these are actually one of the pairs of shoes that I've shown in the Image Clothing Company shoelacing technique, aka just the only way the human foot is actually ever going to work. Under In the Image Clothing Company podcast, these ones have been featured. So yeah, there you go, okay? It's just the same thing all the way up, so after the first crossing of laces, you just do the exact same thing all the way up, and then tie your shoes evenly over toward the inside, okay? And there you go. But it's just the only way the foot's shaped. There's no opinion anybody could ever have to that. And every human on the earth, unless you have a deformity or something, that's just how your foot's going to work. The only way it ever could. So removing tags, right, from the shoes themselves as well, as I talk about and show and do, because I speak out of personal experience and example. And I'm not a hypocrite. Except for the times that I am, because I'm sinful by nature. You know what I mean? Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, I love Xero shoes, by the way. I've talked about them so much, and I have this feeling that one day we're going to be doing things together, company to company. And if it never happened, you know, okay. But I think a big part of it is we can both do things for each other, because I talk about the entire body from the feet up, apart from shoes, meaning we don't have shoes under In the Image Clothing Company, but, right, we talk about the whole body's clothing, and Xero Shoes goes in depth with their shoe designs, and they do a good job at it. And so, you know, if we got together one day In the Image Clothing Company and Xero shoes, we could definitely help each other, right? Bring our customers to them and their customers to us. because we're doing the same thing, right? Their whole slogan is living life feet first. Our whole slogan is allowing the human body to work. So, yeah, that's why I've talked about them as much as I have, because they do that well. Yeah. So, it's really great. It's really great to just have good people on the earth, man, doing good things. Yeah. So take 10 minutes to make your bed. You know, whatever that means for you specifically. Take a few minutes to remove the tags from everything that you could be placing onto your body and calling clothing. And, you know, your life will change for literally ever. Yeah. Take a few minutes to let your food or drink of whatever kind it is get closer to room temperature after taking it out of some kind of like refrigeration, so that it can actually be absorbed into your body without your body rejecting it because it's too hot or too cold for it, because there's only one temperature the body will ever be at. Otherwise, it's very, very damaged. Okay? I mean, it's things like this, you know, just take a few minutes, take a little bit of time, and the rest of your life will change, but you have to do that. Otherwise, it couldn't change. And you just don't know what you don't know, man. And we just talk about things that are eternal, universal, and life-altering here under In The Image Clothing Company. Yeah. It's really nuts. And, you know, a big thing with the work uniforms is I've worked at a job before for 2 full years with only 2 t-shirts as my uniforms. And so working 5 days a week at that job, I'd have to only cycle between two t-shirts the entire time. 2 full years. And there was the dreaded collar seam in those shirts. There was also a tag in the rear. And wearing them every day, they get worn into a patterning that is caused by those imbalances in them. And then the only center line that the human being could ever have isn't allowed to be that in the very beginning, placing that shirt on initially. But then as you wear it day after day after day after day, because you have to, they tell you to wear this because that's why they call it a uniform, right? So that everybody looks uniform. And people know who the staff is, or who the employees are, or the employers are. And that's entirely fine, but there's still only one way the human body could ever work. And so I just went through hell at some of these jobs because of what I was wearing. And I just didn't know any better in the time, so it wasn't my fault. And it wasn't the employer's fault who gave me the uniforms if they don't know either. And we can't even really blame the manufacturers of the clothing or the designers if they don't know either. And that's the whole thing. There's just only one way the body could ever do anything. And so you take just a few minutes, you know, doing all that you do know how to do and setting something up proper before you get going. And then the rest of it just flows. And that's kind of what I mean by a few minutes can be a year, or however many years, or a few months. Because when we talk about God's timing versus our timing, God is an eternal being, and we're a human being. We're somebody who's just dictated by a clock, and God is outside of time. And so we're going to be resurrected and perfected as God was, because he went in our place and did it first in the flesh. Jesus Christ died for us and got resurrected into his now perfect state, his eternal physical body. The only thing we actually are promised, right? Our physical bodies. Like the episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled, The Only Thing That We Have. It's our bodies. And yeah, it's humbling. But, you know, I've referenced it quite a bit since the episode, but after we had 100 episodes of In the Image Clothing Company under our belt, I titled episode 100, Laying a Foundation. Because that's essentially like taking 10 minutes to make your bed. I've taken, well, as of today's date, I think just a little bit over 8 months to kind of make my bed in the way of laying a foundation for In the Image Clothing Company so the rest of it can just flow smooth because, you know, we're just who we are, and now we'll always be this. And there's this little time that I took out to do it, and it's flown by. Sometimes in our lives, and a lot of people in life, you know, they can't see things eternally, and if you just don't know who Jesus Christ is, then there's no way you could see things eternally. But, you know, you take just a little bit of time, and sometimes a little bit of time is a couple of years. And it just really is, because if we live 80 years, a couple years out of 80 really is just a very small percentage of our whole life. And when we're taking that amount of time to do something that will change the rest of our entire life, then that's what it's going to do, is change the rest of our entire life. And so it's worth it, no matter if you feel like it's something you don't really want to do, or something you don't think is worth it, man. I mean, I just know how many people have brushed over me showing them how to lace and tie their shoes since I've been talking about it. They've been suffering in physical pain since then. Yeah, they wouldn't have had to in that time from when I said anything until just me saying this right now, right? But they didn't do it. The feet are the foundation of our bodies, man. And that's one of the biggest things, is just lacing and tying your shoes correct. I mean, ideally, no heels on our shoes either, because the feet could only ever work on the earth, flat. But, I mean, yeah, it's something I don't deserve by any means. Everything that this is, yeah, I don't deserve it at all. You know, even if we're talking about registering dogs on In the Image Clothing Company poodles, you know, we advocate for registering your dogs in the bloodline of dogs being born throughout history, so that we can continue to breed healthy dogs. And something as simple as just, you know, registering your litter when it is born. If you don't want to do it, there's only negatives that come from that, because it's a quick thing. It's cheap if you look at it in comparison to the life of this dog that you own. Yeah. You know, you take 10 minutes in a sense, right? Kind of metaphorically, to register your litter when it's born. And, you know, the parents of the litter have to be registered before they can be bred for the litter to be registered. But, right? I mean, then the next 15 years, give or take, of ownership of that dog, your dog's just proper. I mean, it's documented in history. It has a birth certificate. That's really what that is. And you can be contributing to keeping up healthy, proper, purebred dogs. And otherwise, you just have missed out on an opportunity that you can never get back. Right? You wake up in the morning after not making your bed, just meaning getting it ready for you to have a good night's sleep, then you've missed out on an entire night. Sleep. An entire night's sleep. That's nuts, dude. I mean, we talk about sleeping, it really is so big. Don't sleep with a pillow because there's only one neutral position for your spine, and your trachea, and your jaw, and your shoulders, and just your entire body. And it's altered down to the tips of your toes and the tips of your fingers if you place a pillow under your head. So, my mom's right outside here. I can hear her. Anyway, it's just things like this, no matter what it is, if it's something that will benefit from just a few minutes, or again, metaphoric, even if it's a few years, if we can look at things eternally and realize that it's just a little blip in time, and if we just do it, then we've bettered the rest of our existence, then yeah, we need to do those things. Otherwise, we're damaging ourselves if there's anything we know about it. If you don't know, then you don't know. Like what I was saying about wearing those work uniforms at those jobs that were imbalanced, I had no idea. So it's not my fault. I couldn't be held accountable for what I didn't know at the time. I can't be held accountable now for not knowing at the time. But yeah, we need to look at things, and we need to look at things eternal. That little snippet of Jaden Smith's line from one of his songs, "I'm in it for the long haul, still in the hills throwing up charcoal," that keeps coming to my mind because, yeah, there's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled The Long Game. It's one of the earlier episodes. I think it's in the teens. And that's just how it is, dude. And to be able to do that, the beginning has to be proper. You can't be in something for the long haul if you don't start it out well, because then throughout it, you're like trying to get your bearings, and you have to do that at the beginning, and then you don't have to do it ever again. You lace your shoes one time, and they're proper for the entire time you wear those shoes. You make your bed nice to sleep on right before you go to bed, and then the entire night's good, right? All these things, I mean, that's just how it is. It's one and done, if you've heard that phrasing. I mean, you do it once and you're done. And if you just don't do it, you haven't ever done it until then you try to do it after damage has occurred because you just, weren't intentional in the beginning. If you knew how to be, right? So, there you go. And a big thing is children can't do things for themselves, right? I mean, we've got to help our kids, man. We've got to help our puppies, under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, we'll show a lot of that. But everything you learn under In the Image Clothing Company, just the truth of the only ways, like shoe tying, like where clothing sits, shoelacing, right? Even putting socks on, following the outward curvature of your leg as you come up on each feet, right? Your children can't do these things for themselves. And so you take 10 minutes, in a sense, right? Figuratively, metaphorically, to do something like this for your own children, and then the rest of their life, they're set up for success, because the chronic pattern that we get out of as adults, they won't even have to be getting into in the beginning if you can help them stay out of it and just stay unaltered, right? Help them stay in the world and not of the world. I mean, that's all that scripture really means. So, yeah. It's kind of nuts, dude. Just to realize, how simple it all is when we just look at it as it is. I mean, there's only things as they are. You can't interpret something and make it be anything. So, yeah. Anyway, I guess that's where we'll wrap this up. This is episode 121 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, titled 10 Minutes to Make Your Bed. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, and there you go. Check out the events, man. Everything's scheduled on InTheImageClothingCompany.com. Poodle Parade events, under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, the main side of In the Image Clothing Company and our events where I help people do what we discuss as a company, right? I mean, in all the ways that we do, because I love video and we do so much under video and always will. I call it the gift of video, as I've said many times, under In the Image Clothing Company content. But we will do so much more as well. I mean, in-person things that we will film as well, right? And that's what's so crazy about the gift of video, right? I'm doing events with people, and then those can be filmed and documented, and they can live on forever as well. I just said as well like 4 times. I just think it's hitting me so much. That's what I mean by humbling, just how much we really do here. So that word as well, it's like we just have so much. We do this, we also do this, we also do this. We're not just some silly company with some logo on a item of fabric that we call clothing that's sold for some outrageous price because it's a name. We're in the name of God, really. In the image of Jesus Christ is how we were designed. And that's a big thing to be claiming to be as a company. But it's not something. It's just, yeah, that's how we do it, is by allowing. We could never have a say over it anyway, so there you go. Okay. Thank you.